I was just wondering if you could give us some color on how succession planning is handled at the subsidiary level, and any insight you could give us into what led you to finally decide to have Ajit oversee both of Berkshire's reinsurance arms.
Well, Tad Montross, after 39 years, has done an absolutely sensational job for Berkshire. Originally, Jen Re was a problem child for a while, as you know, and some brought on by itself and some external. And Tad he's sensational. And I tried several times, maybe successfully in terms of months, but not in terms of years, to get him to stay out longer. As you say, it makes sense to have the reinsurance operation under Ajit. Ajit's ability to handle more and more things in insurance. He oversees a company called Guard, which most of you have never heard of, and we bought it a few years ago, and it's doing terrifically. It's based in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, but it's doing a great job with small business policies, primarily workers' comp, around the country, and it's flourished, being put under Ajit. He started the specialty operation a couple of years ago, and under Peter, that is going gangbusters. And I have found, and this is interesting, but it's true, I have found with really able people, they can handle so much. They almost, well, just take Carrie Silva that put this meeting together. If you have some preconceived notion that an annual meeting that's going to have 40,000 people therefore needs, to spend millions of dollars with all kinds of organizational planning and meetings and meetings and meetings, but really able people, my assistant Debbie Bosonic, she can do anything. So there's just no limit to what talented people can accomplish. And if I had something else in insurance tomorrow that needed doing, I'd probably call Ajit on that too. So it has no, in terms of my succession, that's something. We'll have a board meeting on Monday, but we'll talk about it as we always do at every meeting. And when we haven't, our thoughts are as one on that, and everybody knows why it makes the most sense. But 5 years from now, something different could make sense. Well, that's one reason for not announcing any names. Who knows what happens in terms of the time when it happens, or what happens to the person involved. Maybe their situation changes. So there are no tea leaves to read in the fact that Ajit is supervising Jen Re from this point forward. Charlie?
Well, and there's an obverse side of that. Not only can the able people usually do a lot more, but the unable people, by and large, you can't fix. So I think you're forced to use our system if you have your wits about you.
And we don't feel the need to follow any kind of organizational common view as to, you do this and you have only so many people can report to you, or any of the sort of thing. Berkshire, every decision that comes up, we just try and figure out the most logical thing to do at that time. But we don't have some grand design in mind of like an Army organizational charter or something of the sort, and we never will.
Warren and I once reached a decision we wouldn't pay more than X dollars for something. And the man who was subordinate to both of us who was working on it just said, "You guys are out of your minds. This is really stupid. This is a quality operation. You ought to pay up for it." We just looked at one another and did it his way.
Yeah.
We don't pay any attention to titles.
He was right, too.
He was right, yeah, of course. Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Good.
If a charwoman gave us a good idea, we'd accept it cheerfully.
Actually, one time the woman that does clean my office came in, and I think she'd been kind of wondering what I did, based on. And I'd see her frequently, and her name was Ruby. And finally one day, she decided to really get to the heart of the matter. And she said, "Mr. Buffett, do you ever get any good horses?" Apparently thought this is where I was really making my money, was at the track. But